Karuna
Yes.
Sital Hadayam Panya Pajyoti Bihatmotamam Saranamar Logaru Bande Sugatam Gati Bimuttam Anant Karunapayam Tatha Gatam Anuttaram Bandami Sirsa Buddham Dhammam Sadhu Ganam Picha. Most respected our President Mahabodhi Society of India, Dr. Mahendra Singh Ji, respected Dr. Surendra Kumar Mahapatra Ji, trustee member of Mahabodhi Society of India, Dr. Kiran Lama Ji, treasurer of Mahabodhi Society of India, Sri Dilip Kumar Barua Ji, Sri Randesh Chaudhary Ji, Tathagat Tribhuvan Ji, and other visitors who have joined this webinar on the sacred journey of Dhammadut led by our Mahamahinda Thera, like Jubaraj Wagmere and others. So it is a very proud moment and privilege for me to speak on this occasion. As we are very much aware that this day is celebrated all over Sri Lanka as a Poson Poya. So on this day, I would like to express my deep sense of gratitude to the lands and the people of Sri Lanka, because these are the people of the Sri Lanka who has disseminated the teachings of the Buddha to all the Southeast Asian countries, as well as again the teachings of the Buddha which were available in Sinhalese language there. They were translated into Magadhi language from Sinhalese by Acharya Buddha Ghosa. Sri Lankans are called as a pioneers of our Theravada Buddhism, and preserving and disseminating the teachings of the Buddha in a very successful manner. Whatever we are having the teachings of the Buddha at the present moment, these are the contributions of Sri Lankan people. So on this Poson Poya day, I remember the visit of Mahamahinda Thera to Mihindtale or Misaka Parvat of Sri Lanka, along with his companions. How this Poson Poya day is celebrated, it is not unknown to others. It is most celebrated our functions after this Bodhi Jayanti. So this is the second celebration which is celebrated all over in Sri Lanka with pomp and show and with great serenity. So on this very pious day, on this Poson Poya day, I convey my deep sense of gratitude to all the peoples of Sri Lanka as well as lands of Sri Lanka. As we know that this Poson Poya is second important day than to Basak Day to the Sri Lankans as well as to all the people of the Sri Lankans. So this is not only the contribution of Mahamahinda Thera, and this day is being remembered for the arrival of Mahamahinda Thera, Arhant, who visited in Sri Lanka in 236 BC from India. And there are two traditions which are being observed by the scholars, that how Mahamahinda visited Sri Lanka or the land of the Misaka Parvat. There is a tradition who thinks that Mahamahinda visited Misaka Parvat through his miraculous power along with four companions there. And he appeared at the Misaka Parvat or Misaka mountain there. There is another tradition which is available through the Pali literature, and other northern Buddhist literature, through which we are able to know that how Mahamahinda Ther visited Sri Lanka from Patliputra to Nalanda, from Nalanda to Vidisa, Vidisagiri to Vidisagiri mountain to Avanti, from Avanti to Lat, Gujarat, and from Lat, Gujarat to Andhra coastal region. And from Andhra coastal region, he reached to Tammuparani, the land of the Sri Lanka. So there is another tradition that how Mahamahinda visited Sri Lanka. I will come later on, and in the end, I will try to show some of the photographs of the Mihintale for the sake of our celebration of Poson Poya Day. So first of all, I will discuss that what are the contributions of our Mahamahinda Thera and how he is important in Sri Lanka, as well as in the literature of Pali also, and how he is considered as one of the pioneer of this Pali language and literature at the present moment. We are aware that on 3rd October 2024, Government of India declared Pali as a classical language of India by Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. Some of the scholars of Sri Lanka, like Dr. Disanaike, he was observing and he sent a message that had not been Acharya Buddha Ghosh visited in the 5th century AD in Sri Lanka. This Sinhalese language would have been considered as a classical language of India, since all the teachings of the Buddha were preserved in the Sinhalese language. It was Acharya Buddha Ghosh who visited Sri Lanka in 5th century AD, and he translated all the teachings of the Buddha as well as commentaries of the Pali canon into Magathi language. And this Magathi is the original language of the teachings of the Buddha. Sa Magathi Mool Bhasa. So this the contribution of our Mahamahind is great in the sense that the teachings of the Buddha which were taken by him, it was the Magathi language, and it was disseminated in Sri Lanka. And later on, it was translated into Sinhalese language, and it was Acharya Buddha Ghosh in the 5th century AD who visited Sri Lanka, and he translated all the Pali canon as well as the commentaries of the teachings of the Buddha available in the Pali Tipitaka were translated into Magathi language. So this is the main great contribution of Mahamahinda. We'll talk later on about these contributions, but how he visited there and how he disseminated the teachings of the Buddha in Sri Lanka, I will discuss some of the points there. As we are having the inscriptions at the Sachi, there is we know that there is a Sanchi stupa which was constructed at the time of King Asoka. And in the stupa too, there is a casket in Sanchi stupa that inscribed that Mogliputra Tissa sent 9 emissaries to the different parts of the world. And one emissary led by Mahamahinda Ther to Sri Lanka, it is mentioned there in the casket Stup 2 of Sanchi. So this shows that the historicity of our Mogliputra Ther who hold the third Buddhist council. And in this third Buddhist council, it was the council which classified the teachings of the Buddha in Tipitaka. Whatever we are having the Vinay Pitaka, Sutta Pitaka, and Abhidhamma Pitaka, it was first of all classified in the third Buddhist council. So this third Buddhist council which was convened by Mogliputra Thera under the patronage of King Ashoka. So this historicity is available in the Sanchi Stupa casket number 2, whatever we are having their historicity. And it was Mogliputra Tissa who sent Mahamahinda Thera to Sri Lanka. And it was not at random that he was sent to Sri Lanka. There was a plan, there was a already that how the teachings of the Buddha will be disseminated in all parts of the country of the world. And Mahamahinda was selected. And there are so many works on the historicity of the Mahamahinda also. Some of the scholars are of the opinion that he was not the son of King Ashoka, but he was uterine brother of King Ashoka. And there was conspiracy in the royal court of King Ashoka that he was sent to Sri Lanka. I'm not going to discuss all about this thing, but there is a historical evidence in northern Buddhist traditions, and they are of opinion that Mahamahinda was not son of King Ashoka, but he was the uterine brother of King Ashoka. And he was sent to Sri Lanka, and later on we are also having literary evidences that how Sanghamitra was asked to visit Sri Lanka with the Bodhi tree, sapling of the Bodhi tree, and how Sanghamitra visited Sri Lanka. We are not going to discuss about these things, but there is a inscriptions which are available in Mihintale, Misaka Parvat or Misaka mountain in Sri Lanka, which gives the informations about the visit of Mahamahinda. I will show you the archaeological survey of Sri Lanka, how it is showing the Mahachatya in honor of our sacred journey of Mahamahinda. From the inscriptions available in the first century AD at Mihintale, we are of the opinion that Mahamahinda visited Sri Lanka at Mihintale in 236 BC along with four companions. And these four companions were Ithya, Bhadya, Bhaddasala, and there is another person. There were four persons who visited there. Ithya, Uttiya, Sambal, and Bhaddasal. These were the four persons who visited along with our Mahamahinda Thera. These missionaries in Sri Lanka did not arrive immediately after Vidisa, and we are aware that how Mahamahinda from Patliputra court, royal court, he was sent to from Patliputra to Nalanda, and from Nalanda he visited to Vidisa. There is a Upvidisa mountain or Mahavihar there. He visited there. And in northern Buddhist traditions, we are having the informations that he meets with his mother also, Vidisa, and he was waiting for an opportunity to visit Sri Lanka. In the meantime, there is a happening or event comes in Sri Lanka. There was a king, Up, with and his son Devanama Tiska, who ascended the throne in 236 BC. And he was the contemporary of our King Asoka. King Asoka as well as King Devanampiya Tissa, both were great admirers, both were they great friends of. But historically, we are not having evidence that these two kings met together each other. But we are having information that Devanam Piyatis sent some of the emissaries with some of the donations to King Asoka in the royal court of King Asoka. And then King Asoka became very much happy to receive the emissaries as well as the donations sent by Devanam Piyatis. And King Asoka sent a message through the emissaries that I have become Upasak of Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. And King Asok also sent some of the donations to Devanam Piyatis. Then Devanam Piyatis asked that I also would like to become Upasak of Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. Kindly consecrate our kingdom of Sri Lanka. Then there was an opportunity, and this opportunity was being observed by Arahant Mahamahinda. And then Mahamahinda departs from Vidisa to Avanti, Avanti to Lat, Lat to Andhra coastal region, and from Andhra coastal region to he reaches to Tammuparani, Sri Lanka, and he reaches to Mihintale. In the meantime, the King Devanam Piyatissa approaches to the forest nearby Mihintale, and the King Devanam Piyatissa meets with the companions of Mahamahinda. And this Mahamahinda gives him the teachings of the Buddha, and he preaches their Chul Hatti Padom Pad Upamam Sutta there. And the king becomes very much happy to know about the contents of the Chul Hatti Padopama Sutta. I will come in a very brief manner the content and the subject matter of Chul Hatti Padopama Sutta. And after hearing the teachings of the Buddha, teachings of the Chul Hatti Padopama Sutta, the king Devanam Piyatis asked Mahamahinda along with the companions to visit the royal court. And he asked to come Meghavan garden there, which was meant especially for the Mahamahinda, the abode of the Mahamahinda as well as his companions. Mahamahinda visited there and he gives the teachings of the Mahahati Sut there also. In the meantime, the king Uparani, Uparani of the king Devanam Piyatissa, Anula Devi, she also sends a request to the king Devanam Piyatissa that let her be allowed to hear the teachings of the Buddha. And she was allowed to hear the teachings of the Buddha. And she, along with the companions, comes to the Meghvana garden there, and she also hears the teachings of the Buddha available in Mahahati Padopama Sutta. And after that, Anula Devi also desires to become the member of the assembly. She also wishes to join the Buddha Dhamma and Sangha. Mahamahinda says that I cannot ordain anyone. And for ordaining Anula Devi, one bhikkhuni from India has to come here and she can ordain Anula Devi in the Buddha Dhamma and Sangha. In the meantime, King Ashoka also received a message from the Devanampiya Tissa, and after request of King Devanampiya Tissa, King sends her daughter Sangamitra along with the companions to visit Sri Lanka. And Sangamitra comes to Anuradhapur Mahavihar and she orders Anurla Devi. And this is the start of our disseminations of the teachings of the Buddha in Sri Lanka. The Bhikkhuni Sangha was formed or established there in Sri Lanka, and Mahinda Thera, it was invited later on also to give the uh, teachings of the Buddha to the common people of the Sri Lanka. And accordingly, it was decided to send a mission to Asoka again for giving the permissions to disseminate the teachings of the Buddha. And in the meantime, when the teachings of the Buddha were disseminated to the teachings of to the people of the Sri Lanka, King Devanampiya Tissa asked Mahamahinda that whether Buddhism has got established in Sri Lanka or not. Then Mahamahinda replies that so far that the Bhikkhu Sangha is not being established in Sri Lanka by the people of the Sri Lanka themselves, it cannot be established properly. And this was executed by the very next day. And the king himself, the furrow of the plow was consecrated in the Mahavihar and Anuradhapur Mahavihar, and in course of time became a great monastic establishment. We are aware that how Anuradhapur Mahavihar became a great center of learning of the teachings of the Buddha. And during this Vassa period of the Mahamahinda period, this was to Mahindale to spread the retreat there. The King Devanampiya Tissa also followed Mahamahinda during the Basavas period, and he made the steps for the dwellings for the monks in the during the Basavas period. So this Mihintale, which was meant for the award of the Mahamahinda as well as the companions of the bhikkhus there, and this became the second monastery after the Anuradhapur Mahavihar. So again, now King Devanampiya Tissa wanted or wished to make a stupa of the relics of the Buddha. And for that, again, the King Ashoka was requested to send the relics of the Buddha. And the arrangements were made to send the relics of the Buddha to Sri Lanka. And a stupa was constructed in nearby this. This was a great story which was going to be held there. So there is a internet problem, and the light has already gone, but I am trying to reconnect again all these things. So King Devanampiya Tissa had met completed his religious activity, he is said to have asked Mahinda Thera whether Buddhism has been well established in this land or not. Then to this, Mahamahinda replied that it had been well planted, but had not been taken roots. The roots has not been still established there. He was told that religion will take root only when a person born of the Sri Lankan parents studies the Binay rules and expounds it. Then there was a monk who was the nephew of the king Aritha, who had already joined the order and acquired spiritual attainments, was chosen for this purpose, and at an assembly of the bhikkhus, he expounded the Vinaya. Thereupon, the king was convinced that Buddhism has been well established in that country. So, this is the journey of our Mahamahinda Thera, and then King Devanampiyatis, who reigned for 40 years here. And during the whole period of this Mahinda Thera and Sangamitra lived in Sri Lanka. They were occupied in the propagation of or distribution of the teachings of the Buddha throughout the Sri Lanka. And it was 267 BC when Devanampiyatis died there. And then the kingship went to another king. I am not remembering but Mahavans records that passing away of Mahinda Thera took place in the 8th year of Uttiya, that is the 259 BC. And there is a Chaitya also, which is called as a Maha Chaitya or Mahasya, nearby the Mihintale, which was constructed. And in the Nidan Katha of Samanta Prasadika, which is a commentary of the Vinay Pitaka, also records that how there was a dissemination of the teachings of the Buddha by Mahamahinda Thera, and how the sacred journey which was started from Patliputra to Sri Lanka, it has been recorded in the Nidan Katha of Saman Pasadika by Acharya Buddha Ghosa. So all these have been discussed by all our so there are two teachings of the Buddha. There are two suttas which have been preached by Mahamahinda Thera to Devanam Piyatis. In a very brief manner, I will discuss the Chul Hatti Padopapama Sutta. And this Chul Hatti Padopapama Sutta is the 27th Sutta of the Majjhima Nikaya. In Majjhima Nikaya, there are 152 suttas, and in the first Mulpannas, there are 50 suttas. Out of the 50 suttas, there is a 27th sutta which discusses about the Chul Hathi Padopama Sutta. Here, Chul Hathi means a small elephant. Pad means there are feet. Upma means there is a simile. So there is a simile of the shorter elephant footprint, which has been discussed in the 27th suttas of the Majjhima Nikaya. The main content of this sutta, Chul Hathipadapa Sutta, is that once upon a time, the Blessed One was dwelling at Sravasti in Anath Pindaka Jetvan Mahavihar. And there was a one Jambu Stroni person who was dwelling in Sravasti, and he saw that Pilitok, there is a Paribrajak who was coming from the monastery, and he had heard the teachings of the Buddha. And this Jambusroni asked that why you are happy or glad. Then his Pilotic says that I have heard the teachings of the Buddha, and it is very great and profound. And after hearing the teachings of the Buddha available in Chul Hathipadmu Sutta, I am very much glad. And then he says that what is the contents of the Chul Hathipadmu Sutta, and it is said that there are some qualities of the Blessed One Buddha, and that is why he is called as Itipiso Bhagava Arha Samma Sambuddho Vidyacharan Sampanno Sugato Lok Buddhi Lok Vidu Purusha Dhamma Sarathi Itipiso Bhagava. There are 9 attributes through which the Blessed One Buddhi is known that. And there are special qualities, 4, which have been discussed in this sutta, that Buddha is the perfectly enlightened, that is the Sambuddha, Samma Sambuddha, and his teachings are Swakhato, that he has been well preached. And this the teachings of the Buddha, which has been realized by the perfectly enlightened persons, he is also called as Bhagava because he has broken the process of repeated existence. And it is said that the disciples of the Buddha, they are well trained. Savak Sanno Supatpanno. So these 4 have been discussed in a very detailed manner there. And how the teachings of the Buddha can be realized. So he says, the Blessed One says in the Sutta that first of all, a Yogavachara or a person who wants to purify his consciousness, he has to remove the panch hindrances or nivarnas. They are 5 in number: Kama, Chanda, Vyapad, Thinimidh, Udachkuch, and Vichikitcha. These 5 hindrances are being suppressed by 4 types of jhanangas, namely Prathama Jhan, Dutiya Jhan, Tatiya Jhan, and Chaturtha Jhan. These 4 jhans have been discussed in a very detailed manner. And it is said that Vitakka Vishar Piti Sukha Ekata Sahitam Prathama Jhanam, Vishar Piti Sukha Ekata Sahitam Dutiya Jhanam, Piti Sukha Ekata Sahitam Tatiya Jhanam, Upekha Ekagata Sahitam Chaturtha Jhanam. It has been discussed, and then there is a starting point of the samadhi. And through the concentrations, Rupa Samadhi and Arupa Samadhi, a person is able to realize that all things are subject to impermanence, all things are subject to suffering, and all dhammas are subject to soulless. So these are the teachings which have been discussed in the Chulhati Padopama Sutta. And this was preached by Mahamahinda Thera to Devanam Piyatisya. And again on the next day, whenever he visits to Mahavekavana to give the teachings to the king as well as the royal people of Anula Devi and Uparani who visited Mahavekavana, then he discusses about the Mahahatipadopama Sutta. And Mahahatipadopama Sutta is the 28th suttaj of the Majjhima Nikaya. And it is said that the feet of the elephant is so big that the feet of the small living creatures are included in that big feet. So the elephant feet is just like the Four Noble Truths of the teachings of the Buddha, in which all the noble teachings of the Buddha are included. So this is the essence of our Mahahatipadopam Sutta. First of all, it has been said that what is the significance of the Hatipad and what does it signify? That simile has been given, and how the Four Noble Truth, which is just like the feet of the elephant, it has been discussed. And the Four Noble Truth it has been discussed here in a very different manner, but it has been discussed in the Mahabhagga of the Vinay Pitaka. It is has been interpreted in a different manner. I will give you that how it has been given in a different manner. First of all, it has been said that there are four noble truths. Dukkham Arya Satcham, Dukh Samuday Arya Satcham, Dukh Nirodham Arya Satcham, Dukh Nirodha Gamani Patipada Arya Satcham. These are the four noble truths under which all the teachings of the noble persons are included in all the teachings of the Buddha or in Four Noble Truth. First of all, he says that what is the Dukkham Arya Satcham? It has been said in the text that Jati pi dukkha, Jara pi dukkha, Marnam pi dukkham, Api sampayogo dukkho, Piyehi vippayogo dukkho, Yam pi iksham tam na lapti tam pi dukkham, Sankhitena panchopadana khandhati dukkha. In Mahabharata, it has been said like this. But here it has been said here. Then there is a question that what is the panch upadana khandha? Then it has been said that Rup Upadana Khand, Sanya Upadana Khand, then Sankhar Upadana Khand, then Biyan Upadana Khand. Again, there is a question that what is Rup Upadana Khand? Then it has been said that Chattaro cha Mahabhuta Chaturnam cha Mahabhutanam Upadai idam Buchyati Rup Upadan Khandakam. Then again, there is a question which has been discussed in the Mahatipadopama Sutta that what is a Chattaro Maha, that is the Mahabhut. What are the four Mahabhutas? Four basic material qualities. It has been said that Patvi, Apo, Tejo, and Vayu. These four have been given. Again, there is a question in Mahahati Padopama Sutta that what is a um, uh, Patvi Dhatu, what is Apo Dhatu, what is Tejo Dhatu, and what is Bio Dhatu. Each has been discussed in a very detailed manner. The detailed explanations which has been given in the Mahahati Patapama Sutta, the main idea behind is that there is no self in the Patvi or Apo or Tejo or Bio. There is no I-ness, there is no self in that. And this is the I-ness or this is the self which is the main cause of the suffering. So, which has been discussed in the Valli, the first noble truth, that is the Dukkham Arya Satyam, that there is a suffering. Again, in the second noble truth, that Dukkha Samudaya Arya Satyam, in the Mahabhagavad, we find that it has been said that Yayam Tanha Punobhavika Nandi Rag Sahgata Tatra Tatra Vinandani Setitam Kamatana Bhavtanha and Vibhavtanha. But here in the Mahahatipadopama Sutta, Mahamahinda says that what is the significance of the Dukkha Samudaya Arya Satya in the Mahahatipadopama Sutta? It is said that here Buddha says that yo patisambhujpado passati so dhammam passati. Yo dhammam passati so patisambhujpadam passati. That one who sees the law of dependent originations he sees the Dhamma, and one who sees the Dhamma, he sees the Patisamujpad or the law of dependent origination. So, in that way, it has been discussed in a very detailed manner that what is the Patisamujpad, how all things are subject to cause and conditions. There is no self-independent entity. Whatever the things which are coming into existence, they are dependent on some cause and conditions. So here, the Panchapadana Khanda, which has been discussed in the first noble truth, that is the or research, this has been discussed in a different manner. And it is said that Panchopadana Khanda, they are Patisamuspanna. They are the conditions. Because all over, whatever the Rup Upadan Khand, Sanya Upadan Khand, Sankar Upadan Khand, Beyond Upadan Khand, they are dependent on some cause and conditions. And these are the cause and conditions for the suffering also. So this has been discussed in a very detailed manner in our Dukha Samudaya, whenever in the Blessed One who is preaching to Venerable Sariputta, Mahamahinda Sutta, he gives in a different manner what it has been discussed in the Vinay, that is the Mahavagga. Again, in the Dukha Nirodha Arya section, again, the Blessed One discusses it in a very different manner, that how this the cause, which are the conditions that the Panchopadana Khanda, how the cessation of these five clinging related with the roop, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhar, and Abhiyan, how these are being destroyed or removed, then there is a cessation of suffering. And there is a path which leads toward the cessation of suffering. So these have been discussed in a very detailed manner in Mahahati Padopamam Sutta. And the main idea behind this the preaching to the Venerable Sariputta by the Blessed One Buddha, that all the teachings of the Buddha are enshrined or included in the Four Noble Truths. That is the Dukkha, Dukkha Samudaya, Dukkha Nirodha, and Dukkha Nirodha Gamini Patipada. Buddha also says that Dvime bhikkhave desemi dukkham cha dukh nirodham cha. That, oh monks, I preach only two things, that there is a suffering and there is a cessation of suffering. Dukkham cha dukh nirodham cha. And if you see that Four Noble Truth, dukh samudaya, dukh nirodha, and dukh nirodha gamni padpada, these are nothing but only the dvime bhikkhave desemi dukkham cha dukh nirodham cha. So the main idea of preaching this Mahahati Padopama Sutta, as well as Chul Hati Padopama Sutta to the king Devanam Piyatis, to in by the Mahamahinda Thera, this was only the dissemination or the origin of the disseminations of the teachings of the Buddha in the island of Sri Lanka. So with these words, I am very much thankful to the organizing committee of our this mm, that is the Purnima webinar, which is being organized by our Mahabodhi Society of India, especially our Dr. Mahendra Singh ji and Dr. Surendra Kumar Mahapatra. I am very much thankful to the organizing committee, and I uh, think that may the treasures of this sacred places of Mihintale, or the island of Sri Lanka, where it was touched by the feet of Mahamahinda Thera, remain a source of inspirations for all the Indians as well as people of the South Asian countries to be to get the solace as well as blessings for the peace and happiness of our humanity. So, with the permission of our uh, Surendra Kumar Mahapatra ji, I would like to share some of the photographs which were taken at the time of a visit in 2018 in Sri Lanka. So just within a few minutes, I will share my some of the photographs which will show you that what is the significance of the place where it was touched by the feet of Mahamahinda Thera. So just a minute. Mahapatra ji, kindly allow me to share the screen.
जी, please. Okay.
It is not allowed.
Let me prepare.
Sharing is not turned on.
Please click on the share button. Professor
Yes, I
Shah,
am
please
putting.
click on the share button.
Yuvraj Wagmere is the host now.
No. Jubraj Wagmare is not the host.
No, I am not allowed.
अच्छा, ये चिन्मय बाबू,
Sharing is not turned on.
आ गया प्रोफेसर साहब?
नहीं आया अभी.
नहीं आया, अच्छा. Who is the host?
अभी आप खुद बन गए हैं.
जी, हाँ, ठीक है.
अब हो
प्लीज.
गया है. हाँ,
हो गया. प्लीज शेयर. शेयर पे क्लिक कीजिए.
नहीं आ रहा. शेयरिंग इज नॉट टर्न ऑन.
शेयरिंग इज नॉट टर्न ऑन. ओके, लेट मी.
नाउ अब हो गया है. So screen is shared. Now it is visible to all or not? Share screen.
Yes, you are visible.
Yes. So see, I was talking about that how this visit of Mahamahinda Thera, it was started from Patliputra to Nalanda to Ujjain, that is the Upavidisa mountain, and from Upavidisa mountain to Gujarat Lat, and from Gujarat Lat, which is the Bharuch nowadays, and it was the journey to Andhra, that is the Andhra coastal region. From Andhra to it came to Tampaparni at that time. So this was the journey which was taken by our Mahamahinda Thera. This is the Google survey that how Mahamahinda started the journey from Patliputra to Sri Lanka. So I am coming to this. There is a temple. In front of a temple, there are some of the statues which have been made. The first is the Sanghamitra and the second is Mahamahinda Thera. There are some of the companions of Sanghamitra as well as Mahamahinda Thera. The statues have been made there. This is the photograph of Mahamahinda Thera, which is available in Sri Lanka. In the one of the monastery of Thailand, the relics of Mahamahinda is kept there. So I got the photograph. Then, for the sake of showing you all, I am sharing this photograph to you. That see the relics of our Mahamahinda Thera, and it is celebrated in one of the monastery of Thailand. This is the Mahachatya, Mahaseya, in the name of Mahamahinda Thera. We visited the Bodhi Society of India, had arranged one program to visit all the pilgrimage to Sri Lanka. Then we had visited Mahintale also. And this was the photograph which was taken by my camera also. This is the Chaitya in honor of Uparani of Devanam Piyatis Anula Devi. It is neglected there. It is not taken care by Archaeological Survey of India. And Mahamahinda is more respected there, more reverend there. And how this Mahamahinda, there is a great Chaitya which has been made in honor of our Mahamahinda Thera. So this we can see, and this is the great Chaitya. And if you see, this is our Namrata Chaddhaji, who had been also to Mahintale at that time. And this is the place which is called as the Maha Chaitya in honor of our Mahamahinda Thera. So this is the place from the outside. If you see this Mahintale looks like this, and this is the temple in honor of our Mahamahinda Thera. There is a great temple which has been made, and this has been inscribed by Archaeological Survey of Sri Lanka. And this is written Mahachatya, which was completed and it was inscribed in 1950 there. And this is written about that this how this Mahachatya in honor of Mahamahinda was constructed. And this is the place where great honor has been given to all the people by the all people of Sri Lanka. So this is the some of the photographs which were available in my computer. So I would like to show all these things